All right, looks like we're ready to go here. So welcome everybody to this Sunday's iteration of my live stream painting demonstrations. Today I'm going to be going over my process of creating a character, which is something I haven't touched on much here, and it's but it is something that I have been doing for several years now. I've done some work for several different clients, and I just wanted to kind of walk you through what the general workflow for this is. Usually something like this will take quite a bit of time, but I'm going to see if I can get you a full piece within 2 hours here, or at least something that looks nice. So if you have any questions or suggestions about where you want this to go, or what you would like to see in this stream or in another future stream, please feel free to drop a comment below. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get going here. So as usual, first thing I've done is create another layer here, and I'm actually just going to I'm going to start with something real loose. I'm actually going to start with a series here of figure sketches, just to loosen up a little bit. But I also want to get an idea for what kind of flow I want this to be. And ordinarily I would have some kind of creative direction here that would give me a bit of a starting point, but I just kind of want to start with these gestures to see just to start generating some ideas and get an impression for how I want this character to flow. This one already, like, this is kind of reading as maybe a bit apprehensive. They're sort of bracing themselves or taken by surprise in some way, and maybe that's not the the mood I want to go for. So let's just keep going on here. Let's maybe try one that's a bit more grounded, something very, very firm, but still, I mean, even in an upright pose, the human body is always going to have some kind of flow to it. You don't want it to get too stiff, which is why I'm starting out with these gestures. Maybe they're holding their holding their arm up or something. Maybe have a nice sort of interplay between the raised arm and it can be kind of it's sort of a victorious stance. I want there to be a nice, hey Jorgen, nice to see you here. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but let me know if I'm not. And hello Vieira, and welcome now. It seems like got a couple new folks in here, so welcome, and feel free to drop a comment or any suggestion or question you have as I go through here. Yeah, I like this. There's a really strong, this line here. There's a lot of power from this back foot all the way up through here. It's sort of a victorious stance. So I kind of like that one. Let's see. I'm just going to move that over here. And just going to pop this on a new layer so it's a bit quicker to manipulate it. Let's try another one here. I'm just using a standard, I'm using Kyle's pencil right here. Just you know, nice for sketching. Let's try one that's a little more sinister here. Maybe they're kind of closed. You want like a closed sort of gesture. They're kind of maybe coveting something, or you know, they have some kind of object or artifact that they want to keep to themselves, that they think someone is stealing from them. Or maybe they've been looking for this thing their whole life, and they just finally found it, and they don't want to let it go, or something like that. Not a proud pose, just sort of defensive. That's kind of interesting. All right, next one. See how quickly I'm going through these. I'm not spending more than 30 seconds to a minute on each of these, and you know, I just want to keep creating ideas, keep going with the flow of it. See if I can do something a bit more of an S curve here, maybe. Something like this. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but I'm gonna try to have like kind of a counter curve here, balance it out. Sort of almost like they're doing a bit of a strut here. Maybe looking over their shoulder here. Sort of nonchalant. Yeah, I like this one. Very pretty dynamic, pretty relaxed, pretty casual. This would be good for some kind of seductive villain or something like that. Nice. I like that one. Let's keep it going. Let's build on that theme a little bit more. See if I can create some more sort of, maybe we could do a leaning pose here. Maybe they're looking back. Not sure, maybe this hand can be a bit more. I don't know what they're doing, actually. Maybe something like this, like they're eating an apple. Just kind of hanging out, chewing on an apple. I don't know why. Notice, like, as I, it's like a dancer, yeah. I mean, you know, they don't always have to be warriors or villains or anything like that. You know, you can use a lot of dynamic posing to to create just very simple characters in simple situations, you know. And notice, I mean, the more I move through these, the kind of quicker I'm able to do them, the more accurate and sort of expressive these gestures tend to be. And, you know, this is serving two purposes. One is to generate ideas for this character, but the other is to just to loosen me up a little bit, and it's a great warm-up. Maybe this one can be maybe more of a dancer or something, or in some kind of mid-motion here. This is a very, see, the pose is off balance, so they're kind of leaning to the right here. Sort of implies that they're in motion somehow. And notice all these lines are curved. I'm not blocking out any limb segments really, or you know, I'm sort of defining some of the different main body groups here, but maybe a plane shift here and there just to sort of get an idea of what's going on. But other than that, I just want it to be sort of like they're made out of rubber. I don't know if this one's a bit unrealistic. Their body's pretty twisted. But you know, just move on to the next one. Let's see if we can create something a bit more solid, maybe more of a male pose here. Well, this guy's got crazy legs. Sort of leading the charge over here. And I'll do the same thing, have this sort of flow continuity from one limb to the other. His head's facing up. Maybe that's a bit too extreme. But all the way up there, I want him to have a bit of a neck. Oh, hey there, Sarah. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you here before. Whoops. Just pop this back up here. And yeah, thank you. That's it's actually, that was my mother's guitar. I use it pretty much every day now. Maybe have this big, I want a big curve to this torso. I want it to be belly pushing out, chest pushing out, sort of a defiant. And then we'll just simplify this whole curve into something a bit more solid. If I can get the line right, there we go. And then we can kind of map the loose musculature on there. It's kind of cool. I'm not sure if I'm totally convinced by the movement here, but something like that. It's kind of cool. Next one. What can we do here? I'm gonna go with. It's really usually pretty safe to just start with some kind of S curve. It doesn't have to be too extreme. Maybe I'll see if I can come up with a pose here that's a bit more centered, a bit more relaxed. Let's have a sword here. That's even the sword isn't straight. It's just yeah, even with just your straight standing pose, this character is a bit stiff, even like they're kind of poised for action. And they got this big floppy sword here, and got some legs. Notice I'm sort of exaggerating the curve of these muscle groups here. Like with the leg, you know, if the leg is straight like this, and this is the foot, just the way the muscles are built kind of follows this nice S curve here. And then you have the glutes back here. This is like your basic leg shape. And you have your knee here, kind of bulges out a little bit. And you have some connective things here, but the leg isn't just straight up and down. And if you want to show a lot of motion, you know, you can really just increase that S curve, and then you can always dial it back later if it looks a bit too alien, you know. This guy feels like he's leaning back a little bit, so I'm just gonna shift him over. Yeah, it's kind of, he's a little stiff. Not sure if I like that one, but let's try another one. And then we can pick one of these and get going. Which one? Oh, that's Travolta's move. Nice. Yes, that can either. It is very flamboyant pose there. All right. And for the last one here, let's see if we can do the Luke from the cover of New Hope here. Something really. Don't want to forget that curve here. It can be even a little extreme with the leg. I guess this isn't. Let's try. We don't have to have the leg out so far. And just. Here's that S curve from before. This one's kind of cool. Very dramatic. I like using this sort of Squidward shape for the head. Here's the top of the leg. There's that calf muscle there. See, that's a bit too that up. Maybe out a little bit. And there's the lightsaber. It's good to make the sound effects too. Always helps. Always helps. Yeah, this one I'm developing a little bit more. Just to kind of see where it goes. Yeah, it's really I mean, doing gestures like this, I mean, just doing them is the best way to get better at them, obviously, but it'll really help. It'll help loosen all of your everything you make after this point will be a little bit more loose. Just sort of thinking about where the joints are here. I think this leg's a bit too far out. Needs to be a little bit more weight bearing. Almost looks like it's a bit too short here. I'm just gonna use the warp tool. I have that hotkey to Control Shift W. It's a very useful shortcut. Yeah, I don't know about this guy. There's something weird going on with his hips. I mean, I guess if I wanted to, I could take the time to work on that one a bit more, but yeah, it almost, I mean, it's just worth noting here. I think his weight is like too far to the back here. I almost feel like his legs lagging a little bit. I think that's a bit better. Yeah, maybe have this foot facing forward. Just sort of twisting around. Move this butt up a little bit. Maybe give him a whole shift backwards. I don't know. This one's I'm not feeling that one so much. But anyway, you see, I started to put a little bit more time into them towards the end here, which to me means I'm ready to move on. I like this one though, so I'm gonna roll with that. I think the gesture is just really simple. It's working well. There's a lot of motion here. There's forward movement. There's sort of a interesting gaze happening here that can really set us up for some storytelling, and there's just a lot of mood that's coming across here, and a lot of character. So you want to start with something that's already really expressive, because if I started something with one of these two, I'm gonna be putting a lot of work in later just to sort of work around that stiffness and try to give the character a bit more life. Yeah, I don't know what's it looks like someone broke the back of his leg here. I'm just gonna hide. I'm gonna, let's see, where's this one? Just gonna select this. Okay, this is my gesture. I'll pull that to the top. And let's take all of these, group them in case we need them for reference, I suppose, but I'm not looking back. Blow this up. Something like that. We'll probably position her towards the left side of the canvas a little bit because she is looking this way. So you want there to be a little bit of space in the frame for us to follow her gaze. We wouldn't want her to be over here necessarily, unless she was about to run into a wall or something, or there was like a sword here. I don't know. That'd be kind of a weird scene, but anyway, yeah, we could even push her way over if there were maybe some other interesting elements here. We can always change it. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to block out this. The other great thing about this is that it's the silhouette is going to read well, and that's really key, especially if you have characters that are sort of doubled up, or kind of they have limbs crossed and things like that. It can be hard to create a convincing silhouette around that. But in this case, it's going to be pretty clear. So I'm just going to actually take a moment to just map that out. I'll just start with this. Start with what I have here. Just in terms of the gesture. You're not using color right now. That's fine. I actually haven't done that in a while. Like a decent value study, and that's arguably more important than your color usage. Yeah, I like this. We could even start out with a little value study for this one. So she looks pretty weird without any hands or feet right now, but I love this pose. And so I'm just gonna, from here, I'm gonna start just building out what I know to be the major muscle groups. Give her a little roundness to the hips and everything here. And I want to kind of be fairly clear and decisive with my shapes and edges here. I want to clean those up a little bit. There's a knee here. Something like that. I'm going to switch my eraser to something a bit more hard-edged. I put this on a new layer, by the way, just so I can check that gesture in a minute. Make sure everything's still working with that. Create that S curve to the leg here that I was talking about before. I mean, once the muscles are starting to be grouped in a bit more realistically, it's not going to be quite so pronounced, but I always struggle with the feet a bit. I ought to do a good foot study sometime, or like lower leg, you know. Something like this. some beefy legs. Whoops. And I think this knee is a bit too low here. Still want to maintain that gestural quality to things. Yeah, a value tutorial. I'd be happy to put something together like that. Not yeah, I mean there are a few main principles that if you stick to them, they'll take care of 70 to 80% of your value issues, and a lot of that has to do with the distribution of values in sort of like a the 70 to 20 to 10 ratio kind of, which is a useful ratio in just about everything here. Alright, we're just going to let this hand kind of flow out here. Hands are the bane of my existence. I've been trying to do a lot of hand studies just because they tend to really trip me up. But we're not going to worry about it right now. We can just use a simple shape to communicate that at the moment. Not sure what this other arm's going to be doing. Maybe we can have it sort of splaying out a little bit more. Oh, it'd be funny. I don't know. I just want to try this real quick. What if she's just kind of like waving? Something like that. I don't know. Or, holding a gun or something. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's pretty badass. Interesting. All right. So helpful you are. It's okay. I think Yoda's got the right idea. I've noticed that I've almost inclined the plane slightly here, and I'm just gonna go with that just to kind of create a bit more of a dramatic effect. Just make a line here so I remember. All right, so I think this is looking pretty good. I don't think I've compromised the gesture too much. It's a little bit more stiff, but that tends to happen as you add a few more things, and we can. I'm actually just gonna. Can I do this? Maybe not. I think this will be okay. I'm also noticing we're kind of looking up from underneath here. So maybe I'll sort of exaggerate out the bottom half to sort of increase that effect a little bit. Kind of have this leg's coming forward a little bit. I think actually her foot's gonna be facing up just a bit, so we can. She's taking a step. It's kind of a Daffy Duck foot there, but I'm not gonna worry about it for the time being. This leg is facing forward a little bit, so we're going to see just a bit of the other side of that calf as well. And then our ankles are going to bulge out a little bit. Let's get rid of that gesture, see if this still holds up. I think this foot's going to be just a bit foreshortened here, so I'm going to cut it down. She's sort of walking slightly at an angle towards us. Maybe she's got another one here. I'll give her another gun. She's just got all the guns. Maybe she can be some kind of pirate or space pirate. I don't know. All right, good enough. Let's keep moving here. Yeah, feet and hands. They're always a pain. I mean, really, the best way to do it is best way to get around that is just to keep doing studies and studies at this scale too. You know, I think you don't really need to know how all the toes work to make a foot look convincing at this scale. You just need to know. You just need to know what the box is going to look like. You know, you have your kind of have the front plane, and you got the mid plane, and then you have the cylinder meeting here, and then you have the ball in the back. It's usually, and then there's kind of another little thing here. Got your big toe. If you have some variation of that, it'll work nice. Of course, if they're wearing a boot, I feel like I use a lot of boots. They kind of have this rounded front often. It's not a good example, but just anyway, we're not going to go too far into foot anatomy today. I'm going to round out her head shape a little bit because she's kind of looking like a zombie right now. I'm just going to use some simple planes here. Bearing in mind, we're going to see sort of the bottom of her chin. And then maybe we're going to have some hair, that kind of thing, sort of flowing out here, all flowing in the breeze. But I'm going to get rid of that because I want to make sure I keep an eye on the neck shape here. Oops, I'm on a new layer. Yeah, I think that's better. Maybe she has some shoulder pads or something going on. All right, let's move on. Next, what can we do here? Oh yeah, we're just gonna let's drop the opacity of the silhouette. Start doing a more detailed sketch over here. This is kind of why it tends to take a bit longer. I mean, I guess I could have just jumped right in and started painting from the start, but it's just good to kind of map out these different anatomical components as you go, and starting with the gesture is really key as well. So while this may not be how I would try to, if I really had 2 hours to make a character, this is probably not how I would go about it, but yeah, given a bit more time, this is what I would do. Here I'm starting to just sort of indicate where there's some twisting happening. I want to keep things simple. I'm just using sort of simple straight lines here. Here's where the glutes meet the leg here. Because it's stretched out, it's not going to be such a dramatic transition, but it is present. And no, I do not know all the different muscle group names here, and for the most part, I don't know how accurate all this is. I kind of have a loose impression of where the major muscle groups lie here. So if you're struggling to figure out what these shapes are, it's definitely worth go check out Proco on YouTube here. He's got some awesome anatomy stuff, and I think this knee is just a bit too far down. Yeah, he's got a lot of great stuff. I'm not an anatomy expert by any means, but I know enough to to get me by with stuff like this. So here we are. This chest is gonna be, I'm just gonna map it out as kind of this box first, with some simple planes, and just want to get these general shapes going first. There's that knee again. There's that muscle that goes along the back of the leg. I can never remember what it's called, but that's really the most defining feature of the calves. There's not really a lot going on. The front is just bone pretty much. So I'm gonna leave that the way it is. There's a little joint down here. There's sort of one on each side of the ankle, and I can never remember. One of them is higher than the other. I can never remember which. That's actually really important. So you can always just gonna zoom in here so my hand doesn't cramp up. Just map out the planes of this foot. Same here. Just gonna show you kind of what I was doing up there. Just even simpler though. Just a very simple box shape. And this twist is going to become important later. That's going to factor into the folds of the clothing, and also here, just how the muscles work as a group. Speaking of muscles, I'm just going to kind of map out. There's this core of abdominal muscles here. I just want to make a note of. And then right about here, it's going to run into the rib cage, which is kind of what defines this box up here. And so the rib cage kind of comes up in the center right here. These abdominal muscles come up and meet the sternum. And we got the chest shape here. And that can pretty much be represented with two lines. You got kind of a longer one up top and then a shorter one along the bottom. It's a little more complex here. I'd say that could be represented just by these two bottom lines. And this kind of comes up. There's some muscles down here, but we don't have to worry about them too much in this case. Just gonna kind of slim this down a little bit. Maybe start the rib cage a little bit lower, I think. Be more accurate. Then we got our triceps up here. It's pretty much just we got our biceps coming down this way. Sorry, these are not triceps. I don't remember what these are. The shoulder muscle. Triceps are back here. That kind of tapers in a little bit. Comes around, meets. There are pretty much two major muscle groups in the forearms, and in this case, one of them is sort of facing us more than the other. Our wrist bulges out a little bit, and then in this case, I like to just represent the top of the hand with just this sort of trapezoid shape. And then we got our thumb coming in here. And then our weapon over here. Maybe that could be a sword. See how that looks. Or a lightsaber, I don't know. We can get creative with it. Although I don't want to get in trouble with Disney stealing their information property. Anyway, we're gonna have. I usually just sort of like to map out where the sternum is here. Then we have our collarbones coming in from each side. Kind of meet right here in the middle. And then, to be honest, I think the muscle kind of like twists around here, and then there's another bigger one on the inside. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's how this works. I'm gonna have to revisit this is where kind of the hip joint meets, and then there's this other, the glutes back here. I think that's roughly accurate. And then, let's see. Let's get the head is twisted to the right, so we have the two major neck muscles here. There's one on either side, and we have some connective ligaments on this side. And then we've got our jawline. That's very important here because she's sort of facing up, so we're going to see this bottom plane a little bit. Whoops, rotated the whole canvas. Switch that back. It's actually a feature I don't use enough because obviously when you're working on a tablet on the computer, you can't really turn the page like you could with a piece of paper or with a tablet or something like that. So, or like Procreate. So it's very useful because you can get the some really nice stroke quality, you know, if you turn the canvas like this and, you know, really use the natural stroke instead of kind of trying to force the reverse. You know, the way your hand moves, some strokes are going to be better than others. All right, I'm actually just going to have this. I'm going to give her a bit more muscle here. Have this pop up a little bit. This kind of actually meets sort of all these muscles just fit together like a little little puzzle. So this kind of meets right at the intersection between the bicep and the tricep. We actually, and then we're gonna see a little bit. Actually, the pecs can be visible just right here under the arm. So I've actually been learning a lot about this just from been doing a lot of actually like working out for the first time in a long time, and learning a lot about these different muscles and how they become visible in the body. So it's kind of looking like she doesn't even need longer hair at this point, but I don't know if you have any ideas about how you want her style to come out. Drop a comment, let me know. Long hair, short hair, or I'll just kind of create some indications there. Maybe she has one of those buzzed side things that all the kids are having these days. I don't know. Got our ears. I feel like the ears are always a bit lower on the head than I think they are. They just kind of, they meet right at the edge of that jawline, and there's actually a pretty big, most of the head is kind of up above that area. And then we have our cheekbones here. This one can kind of be seen at the edge. Here's our brow line, nose. That's going to be sort of a little triangle here because we're looking at it from underneath. Let's have our chin. I'm going to try not to get into too much detail here. I just want to map out the general features. Here are our eyes. Right here. Lips. We're going to see mostly the top part there. Something like that. She's got kind of a square jaw, and that's okay. She's kind of a badass like that. I'm just gonna correct the line here on the mouth. I want her to be kind of smiling a bit. So we're gonna just include a few. The bottom of the eyes are gonna be a bit flat just because the cheeks are pushing up underneath. Kind of raised eyebrows, or just sort of carefree, you know. Maybe one of them's kind of lower, just doing kind of a thing there. All right, that's enough for now. We don't have to go too far into the face at this point. Maybe we can put some irises in there just as a placeholder. And let's go back to the shoulder here. It's we can have a little bit more space here, and then the shoulder's gonna pop out. This bicep is gonna be contracted, so it's gonna bulge out a little bit more because her arm is pulled up, and that's gonna be kind of hanging out. And then it's going to be overlapped just a bit by this other forearm muscle here. This along here is pretty much just bone that leads to the elbow. And then we have our main forearm muscles on either side of that. The wrist is actually twisting around a little bit, so we want to show that here, with this muscle kind of wrapping around the other side. And then we have this big mass, this fleshy thumb mass there. And then the rest of the hand comes up over here. We'll have some fingers on the other side. Just sort of loosely paint those in for now, and then the thumb can kind of rest here. Or maybe the thumb is kind of on the top or something. I don't know. I'm not going to get too into that right now. I'll be at it for days trying to get this hand right. I'm just gonna keep it simple for now. And let's just make something. This is kind of the fun part. You get to figure out what kind of cool weapon she's got here. There's a little smoke coming off like that. Nice. I think this looks pretty good so far. I think, you know, a lot of the key here is like I love this right here. There's just 2 lines defining the shape, and that can really help to create some clarity in your piece. I highly recommend just anytime you're trying to map out a 3D space, just keep it simple with some straight lines. Have some nice variation between you know, your you've got your, let's see if we can make this a bit brighter here for our teaching moment. You got long lines, you got medium lines, you got a little short one. You want to have a nice odd distribution of line lengths for your shapes. Let's see, here's another one down here. There's a little short one, another shorter one, and then a long one here, and then sort of a medium here. This is a great series of lines. Here's another one, a little short one, medium one, long one. You know, I kind of try to do that as much as possible. Here's another one, short, medium, another kind of medium. But these are all sort of different lengths, you know. I'm not creating anything that's just like this, you know. You want to have something that's more like, you know, you got way out here, and then something like that. Here's a half one. I mean, these are very good shapes, but you get the point. So this is the point where I'm like, oh man, I'm really happy with this sketch. I want to screw it up. You know, that's part of the issue with doing this in sort of this long form ways. You can get a little bit blocked because you don't want to because you want to preserve what you've already made, but ultimately you know, I keep these you know, I still have the silhouette, I still have the gesture. Let's compare these actually. See if I've kept that motion. Yeah, you know, you see it's I changed a few things, and it's a bit stiffer now, but I mean, starting out with that movement really helped me to create this pose, even if it's now just sort of, it's a little bit blockier. You know, I changed the arm pose so it's not quite as carefree, and she's a little bit more, you know, a little bit more rigid, a little bit more blocky, but there's still a decent amount of movement here. And we'll see, like, what if I can, let's see if I can maybe get back some of that simplicity in these See, here's an example of when I can do this, and actually I want to turn it the other way. Get this line just right with the stroke of my pen here. Just really simplify this. There's going to be a little bulge here where that knee joint is, and then likewise right here. But I'm just going to go around and kind of simplify things. It's going to be so much easier when I go into map out these shapes later in 3D when I have just a really simplified set of three-dimensional shapes already created here. Notice I'm sort of bringing back that S-curve a little bit too, just to give these legs some nice springiness to them. Let's see how that looks. I think that's a bit better. I think this face is going to need a bit of work, but no, we'll get to that. I say as I just start working on it immediately. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to follow the flow of what your inclination is, you know, what you want to do next. It's looking a bit old right now, just because I'm still mapping out these facial things, and maybe she will be. We'll see. Actually, gonna expand out this section here a bit. All right. Next, maybe I just want to. This is where I get stuck for 3 hours. Just end up give her a little gap here. Give her a little bit of a smile. Maybe I'm gonna reverse these eyebrows. Maybe she'll have no eyebrows. I don't know. She looks sort of endearing. I want to give her more of a menacing look at some point, but I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Maybe I'll have her mouth open a little bit. We can move this jawline down just a touch. give her a bit of a gap here. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Oh, hey, Leo. Welcome. What is the character? Yeah, I don't know yet. I've just been making it up as I go. Yeah, we just give you a quick walkthrough here. We started with we started with a group of gestures. We moved on to this one. I picked this one. It was my favorite. It was very sassy. And then made a silhouette off of that. And then we've just been drawing on top of that. So I think next I'm just going to move into doing some doing a basic underpainting here. Maybe give her some context. And think about lighting schemes as well. So Jorgen was talking about talking a little bit about value here. So let's start with a nice. Let's just do a little gradient. Whoops. Let's put the sketch on top. I'm actually gonna take this sketch. I'm gonna drop the value down to black. So there's no gray here, just so it'll show up well on top of something else. So I want to think about, I mean, the lighting is going to change everything about the mood of this character. Generally like a top-down lighting would be a bit more sinister. I usually like to have sort of a nice ambient glow towards one side and then some sharp rim light towards the other, and usually have those be kind of contrasting temperatures as well. So, but while we're working in grayscale, I'm just going to drop down the opacity of this a little bit. And then let's see what kind of stuff we can make. I'm going to switch up to something a bit more. Let's try this. All right. So let's think about I'm going to have probably my ambient light source over this way, and let's just start to think about where that's going to be hitting here. Start with the side that's definitely going to be lit, and we want the face to be about 3/4 in light here. And then maybe that'll come around this side here like that. The arm's going to cast a bit of a shadow, so we'll just sort of stop right there. And then maybe it'll pick up around here. Sort of have that sort of fade out towards the bottom here. We want our highest point of contrast to be, you can always choose where you want it to be. I kind of want it to be around this area here. So down here, we're not going to use this same highlight to define the leg down here. You could sparingly, and it's all about just how the whole piece is flowing. We're also thinking about, let's actually take a minute to define our right light source here. It's going to be somewhere around here. So, and it's kind of, it's not, it's hard to illustrate in a 2D image here, but it's sort of almost even with her relative to us, but I think a bit towards us. So that's how it's able to hit like this area here. If it was right aligned with her. There might be a bit more shadow here, but it's just a bit towards us. So I'm just thinking about that as I'm going through here, and also thinking about this is actually, if this light source actually were right here, it would be hitting down here at a different angle. But let's just move it way over here and just imagine that it's here. We can stretch it out. It's coming like that. So that said, our brightest spots are going to be kind of on the upper right of these forms here. Kind of like with this leg here, this part's turned up a little bit, so that's going to be catching more light. Likewise, this part is as well, and up here. And we can even push this up a little more because it's going to be catching a lot of direct light here on the side. Actually, maybe not so much right there, but kind of more right at the edge of that shadow. Probably going to be catching a lot of light, and then definitely along this bicep, or the I don't know what that muscle is called. I keep calling it a bicep, and then along the arm here, and then definitely along the face, right here. And then we're gonna have another light source. Let's copy this, flip it. Let's have it kind of just coming from underneath. And I'm almost thinking, let me just shrink that down a bit. And that'll be, I think, a bit more of just a soft, general, it won't be quite as intense as the other light. So let's break out a little softer brush here. Just start. It's going to be kind of hitting there. It's going to kind of hit the underside of here. The edge of this leg. The under her chin and along the neck here. We don't want it to be quite as bright either as the direct light on the other side. We don't want them to be competing for attention here. Something like that. That's kind of cool. This almost has a bit of a comic book vibe to it. I've been reading, actually just finished Watchmen. That's I'd never read that actually, and it's pretty crazy. It's really good, but very dark, and but yeah, the art is awesome. I've been getting really into a lot of those books lately. So let's see what happens when we turn the sketch layer off here. You can almost picture it. There's not too much light information being relayed here. So, but I think together with that and like the shadows that are going to pop up here, I think this is going to be good. So ordinarily, I would probably do a few different passes at the lighting scheme here, just to figure out what the best is for the mood. I could move these around. Whoops, that's on the same layer. I can move these around and do some experiments there. But since this is just a short stream, we're just gonna keep moving here. I also want to note where the shadow from her legs is going to be. That's going to be important. And we can even think about what our background is going to be and how that's going to be depicted here. Maybe we can have some kind of, oh, I don't want to do that. Let's put something, well, I won't worry about it now. Let's move on to the next phase. Actually, what we can do is, I'm just going to copy and paste that. Let's just erase this here. I'm going to merge. Let's just merge these down. So we have this grayscale layer underneath, and we can just take the color balance and just do a general coloration here. Just to get the ball rolling. Already you can see, I mean, I'm just pushing the shadows towards the blue and the cyan a bit, and then the highlights towards red and yellow, and that's already really developing this right light source here. But yeah, I think that's a bit too saturated to start off with. Let's just bring it back a bit. And then I think what I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna hop right in and start painting over this character here. Create a new layer and start to think about where we can just start with where our shadows are going to be. Start sculpting the form a little bit more. So any place where you're pretty sure there's not going to be any light coming in. So under the armpits is a big one. Under this leg, perhaps. And then often where the two light sources meet, there's going to be a bit of a shadow area as well. Especially, and this top plane is sort of facing up, so it's not really catching either of those light sources. Same with the top of the head here. Let's just flip this to see if it's still looking okay. I think it is. I mean, always when you flip it, the face just looks really messed up. But as far as the overall form and the flow of things and everything, I think it looks great. So I'm just going to keep developing that. There's that, I don't know what the best term is, but it's sort of a halfway shadow between these two light sources. I'm actually going to bring that up further up here, because that cool light source on the other side is going to be sort of hitting the edge of that muscle a little bit. Same here. We have our warm light coming in over here. Catching the top of that shoulder over there. I'm actually just even gonna dial that back just a little bit. I don't want it to be too extreme. I still want to reserve my strongest highlights for the areas where the light is hitting the most directly. Down here. Another thing to think about while you're mapping this out is where can you, I like to deliberately create some cast shadows so that we can help to draw more focus up here. And, you know, where in theory, you know, the light is going to be hitting evenly all along here and along here. It's just like if you look up at the navigator, it just doesn't look good. There's too much contrast everywhere. You want there to be some a little bit of finesse to it, and you want some of your light to fade out. So I think down here, maybe what I'm going to do is sort of start to build a bit of a cast shadow on her lower arm, and maybe we can even drop this whole arm into shadow and have it be sort of a silhouette. Let's just pick a nice shadow color. And that kind of, it gives it a bit of a sinister look as well, but it's also just like it's a dark silhouette against a dark background. It's not going to pop too much, but it will pop enough to create the impression of that form. I'm just going to give it a little bit of rim light down along the edge here where that light is still just hanging on. And this is, I'm actually going to kind of fill this out a little bit too with the cooler light on the other side as well. Really want to, this is going to be probably the darkest shadow area here, right under the armpit where no light can can penetrate. All right, let's actually start developing our cool light source now a little bit. So let's venture out into the blues. Maybe it can be a bit of a blue-green. So yeah, all this area here is illuminated by another light. Actually, I'm gonna move it towards back towards that blue. Excuse me, that blue there, and I'm just gonna kind of maybe I do like the blue green, or we could have some variation between the two. You know, it's always good to have some color variety. But that's just good, what's going to be going on this side of the form. So it's going to be more reflection along this weapon here. It catches a little bit on this shoulder and along this bicep. And also, as I said before, we're gonna hit this hand here. Everything along here, and maybe just a nice just some nice faded light. We want this to contrast well with the crisp, sharp light on the other side. I can even have it fill in the shadow just a bit as well. And I think that's pretty good. I think it's a bit too bright down here, so maybe what we can do is sort of the same thing we did with our shadow along the hand, is we can just develop these these legs as sort of a silhouette. Down here, where the light, actually I think this background is just a bit too saturated. I'm having trouble competing with it. There we go. We'll just have, where's that? There it is. Just have a bit of this on the front of the leg, but other than that, we're gonna keep it pretty dark. And that's an exaggeration, you know, obviously, there's going to be some, we're going to have some light get to that area. But for now, we just, that's kind of just a note to myself, like, not to create too much contrast around there. All right, so she doesn't really have any clothes right now, so you know, this is kind of the point where I might want to start thinking about doing some more deliberate designing around everything. There's a bit of reflected light over here, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna ramp up the warmth of this color source a bit first, especially around the edges of these, right where the light transitions into shadow. There's going to be a bit of warmth here. Let me give you a little more red by the face. And down here. And then let's just brighten up those highlights a bit. Give it some nice yellow. This kind of looks like one of those old like 1970s sci-fi paintings right now. It's kind of got that style to it. But we're gonna develop this a bit more, and so I think at this point I'm gonna start doing a little bit of sketching and start thinking about how, I don't know, how I want this everything to come together here. What kind of clothing and all that. So I'm just gonna kind of hop back to sketching for a minute and start designing some stuff. And you know, this is kind of this is what tends to take so much time, and it's not like it's time wasted or anything. It's always fun once you have this solid base down to start just start designing things, you know. And And I've made a new layer for this, by the way. I'm gonna start creating some folds in the fabric here, like I was saying before. That's gonna be important, especially because it's twisting around. Actually, I think I just want to have this part be sort of dark here. Nice little silhouette. There's not really any light from either of these light sources hitting this area, so just gonna sort of blot that out. Same up here. All of this. Sort of create some cloth marks here. Hang on, this nib is driving me crazy. I gotta sand it down. I don't know if you've seen me do this before, but something about this tablet. I mean, it's kind of a cheap tablet, but once you wear down the nib a little bit, it just starts to squeak and scratch everywhere, and it just drives me insane. Anyway, so I sand it down. I have a little piece of sandpaper. It's something you can do if you want. I'm not sure exactly how this cloth is going to work down here, but it is all still twisting a little bit this way, and then we're going to have it meet the pants or whatever it is we got going on down here. Get some of that lighting hitting these, hitting the edge of this cloth here. Might be a little extreme, but I'm also just working in cool light and warm light at this point. Not really worried so much about local color, although that's definitely something we're going to want to consider as we move forward. It'd be cool if she had some kind of, I don't know, some kind of battle armor or something here. I don't know if that really fits with what I've been establishing so far, though. Maybe I'll leave that out. She'll be in more civilian clothing, it seems. I don't know. Maybe she has some cool bracers or something going on here. I'm not a fashion designer, so. But it is fun to do this kind of stuff, you know. Maybe she's got some kind of cool tattoo here. Goes down. What else? She could have a robot arm. That'd be kind of cool. I won't rule that out. Maybe this can be a robot arm. Kind of create some kind of machinery here. Yep. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It won't be. It'll be like a sophisticated robot arm, though. Again, I'm not totally sure about the muscles on this leg, but seems to be right. Should she have a robot leg too? I don't know. That might be overkill. But why not? All right. All right. Yeah, sure. Sure. Let's give her a robot leg. Bionic eye, sure. We can make her a full-on cyborg here. Yeah, this is the fun part. This is where you get to just design whatever it is that that you want to. cyborg pirate. Yeah, sure. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, let's give her a cool. Let's give her kind of a crazy cyborg sword here. I'm gonna switch to my builder brush. Where is it? There it is. This is just, as I've explained before, this just has no transfer, so I can just shift and click to make some nice clean lines here. That's pretty menacing. Maybe it's a bit overkill. Let's do something a bit more subtle here. There we go. I can just take this light, put it on there. Get a little fun with it. Have some blood dripping down here. So that's pretty indulgent, but all right, I think let's give her some jean shorts here. I don't know. That's too cliche. I'll just go with something put this on color just to get the ball rolling here. Actually, what is that? This layer? This one? I'll just create a new layer on color mode. I don't know if I really like that. I don't really use the color brush too often, actually. Just because it's, I don't know, it kind of takes some control out of you, but we can still change the color here. We're gonna go about it a different way. Have something that's like army green or something. Yeah. And then as we shift over to the light side, get a bit of these ripples here, and then we're gonna shift to a brighter, warmer green. Maybe not quite that intense. But definitely, Sure. Let's kick it up a little bit. We can just go in with a smudger, just blend it a little bit, kind of flesh out this shape here. Make some little ripply things. Yeah, this edge won't be quite as hard. Something like that. Actually, this can come down here. All right. On the shirt, hey there, Olivier. I'm pronouncing that right. Foot off the ground. You mean this forward one? Yeah, you might be right about that. Let's experiment with that a little bit. Maybe we can see. I have the underside a bit in shadow here. Might be a little too late to lift this whole leg up anymore, but we can tilt. Let's tilt this foot up a bit, and then we can. We have some real dark here. Try not to give her the goofy shoes. I feel like I do that all the time. And we can have some of this ambient blue light, sort of highlighting the edge here. Something like that. I'll have to work out exactly how that's going to work with the values and everything. But I also don't really know what's on her feet. I know this leg is a robot. And this one, I mean, maybe she'll have some badass boots on both sides, perhaps. There's some like big knee-high things going on here. I think that this foot's looking a little goofy. I think it just needs to be foreshortened a little bit. Wish I had another light source down here I could show the bottom with, but maybe for now we'll have a little bit of a plane shift mapped out here, just really subtle. Like I was saying before, you don't want to have You don't want to have too much contrast down here, drawing the eye away from the full thing. I have a little bit of reflection here. Yeah, it might work. I'm just gonna bring this over a little bit to highlight that foreshortening. I'm starting to do that. Starting to do that thing where I start to paint sort of like I'm working on one layer, and that might come back to bite me when I try to work on the background a little bit. But honestly, I'm comfortable enough working on one layer at this point that I'm not particularly concerned with it. I'm just going to try to develop that sort of midpoint shadow here between these two light sources. All right, this is all kind of a bit of a mess right now, but it's okay. I was saying before, these character pieces can take quite a bit of time to develop properly, but I'm gonna bring that shadow out a little more, and I think this tricep ended up getting kind of whacked out. Yeah, I'm just gonna merge these and create some hard edges around here. We have a lot of messiness and a lot of grays in the skin tone right now, so I'm gonna return to that. But I do want to develop this face a bit more, since it's getting to the point where that's sort of lagging behind everything else. And I do try to develop things at the same rate. So let's just kind of dive right in here. I'm just gonna map out these planes a bit first, where that cool lighting is starting to hit things. I'm actually gonna warm that up just a little bit because it is a skin tone, and especially around the cheeks, the local skin color is going to be a bit warmer. We're going to have a little shadow here. We're definitely going to have a shadow right here. But that's going to be, actually, there's going to be some reflected light going on here, so that's probably the color I'm going to use. And there's the bottom plane of the eye there. And I think the shadow will start to turn right around here. Actually going to do this while zoomed out a bit so I can still kind of see what's going on. I'm going to have the deepest shadows right here around the eye. And also right here, I think we're going to have our mouth open just a little bit, so have this. Let's just get some warmer skin tones going on around here. Give her a little bit more life. She kind of looks like a zombie right now. Maybe she is. Maybe she's a pirate cyborg zombie. I just want to have just want to throw in here so I don't forget, just some real nice, just some redness. That's even still too orange. I want to have some nice pure red going on around the cheeks and the nose and the lips as well. Yeah, she looks like a clown. Now she's a zombie clown pirate cyborg, and that's just what we're gonna stick with here. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I don't think I can pull that off, to be honest. But maybe. I want to have a nice warm, bright skin tone in here too, where the highlights are. So let's just develop that a little bit more. All the places where the light is sort of hitting here directly. I've been taking this Aaron Blaise course, Painting with Light, recently, and that's really good one. I recommend you check it out. Actually ended up just going crazy and buying a few of his courses, so I think, can we take this sketch away? Not around the face. That's pretty terrifying. I'm gonna leave it in for a second here. Actually, I'm just gonna copy and paste this and go ahead and merge it with our top layer, just so we have that, and so I can erase away that sketch layer and we can start to get rid of some of those lines. I'm not sure why this little bit's showing up here, but I'm not gonna worry about it. What is that though? Oh, that's our grayscale painting. This is starting to look a bit like Harley Quinn here, like a cyborg pirate Harley Quinn. Oh, all right. I'll see you later, Jorgen. Thanks for joining me, and yeah, catch up on the rest later. It's been 2 hours, so this is probably going to be a 2-part video. But I'm gonna keep going a little bit here because I'm not totally burnt out quite yet, and I want to get this face to a reasonable stopping point. All right, I'm just not going to worry about that underpainting right now. I'm just going to keep focusing on what's going on here. Give her a little smile. A little creepy Joker smile. Give her some creepy black eyes. This is becoming quite the horror villain here. But here, let's take this smudge tool and let's just start working this in a little bit. I think this is going to be in shadow here. As well as it's going to come around here, I think. And then back this way. So let's just smooth this out a little bit, sort of blend that transition. She's gonna need a lower lip, so let's just pop that one in there. And I think we're gonna have the mouth open a little bit, so let's just and give her a bit a bit more fuller cheeks. Give her some youth here. Oh, it's so creepy. I promise you. She'll be getting a makeover fairly soon. Or we can just go with this creepy, weird cyborg clown angle, you know? It's doesn't have to be one or the other. There's gonna be some shadow here. Let's take this highlight color and bring it over to her neck a bit. Give her a bit more of a fuller face here. And there's going to be, I think there's going to be, yeah, there's a bit of shadow here on this chin, and then underneath the mouth as well. Maybe not quite that much, but say about here. She's starting to look a bit more human. Just a bit. Let's just raise this. Give her a bit more of a smile here. And the top lip tends to go down a little bit like that. The bottom one comes up. Probably need some teeth at some point here, so I'm just gonna throw that in there. It's got a bit of a gap there. Smudge this out. Yeah, she's looking a bit more like a person here. Just a bit. Have that lip coming out. Let's give her a little highlight here. Ooh, that's the wrong color. Maybe a little bit up here. Yep, she's looking good. I mean, apart from being a zombie robot pirate clown. Let's give this ear a bit more. More purplishness here in the shadow, where ordinarily it would be red in the light. When we move to the cooler shadow, it's going to be more of a violet. We're just going to have a bit of reflection here, wherever the plane of the face is facing that light source over there. Nice. You think we should give her some real eyeballs, or just keep keep her like this? Oh, it's so creepy. Yeah, I vote real eyeballs. So let's just take this dull gray here. Yeah, that's much better. She's gonna have a bit of a... Oh, she's got some crazy eyes going on right now. Let's just tone that down a bit. Her eyes are gonna be squinted a little bit, just because she's smiling. So we don't want to overdo it with the whites of the eyes there. Yep, that's better. Have the eyelid. Oh, my pen's squeaking again. I don't know if you can hear that. Drives me insane, to be honest. Whoa. You can see here I've kind of reached the limits of my resolution. I didn't think I was gonna be getting into this much detail today, but here we are. Do a little thing there. We can do a little spot where the other light source is hitting the eye there. You can have that here too. And then over here, let's just take that color and bring down the value a bit. I want to be careful about how I position this other eye here, because it's really easy to make him look cross-eyed. She doesn't really have any eyebrows right now either. I just noticed that. I think I just painted over them. Where's my eyebrow layer here? Oh yeah, she's gotten quite the makeover. Right. I'm just trying to remind myself what those eyebrows look like. Forgot about this little fun detail here too. It's a very important element of the mouth shape, especially if they're smiling already. I know as soon as I flip this, it's gonna look just crazy, but I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Actually, I'm just gonna copy paste, pop this over a little bit. Boop boop. Oh, not that far. Maybe she's got some cool like Egyptian makeup thing going on. Should probably increase the resolution here before I get too far into the details here. The image size, let's blow it up. Let's blow it up to 3000 width. All right, it's a little better. Oh yeah, I was gonna give her eyebrows. This is gonna be a very important feature here. It's gonna tell a lot about what her intentions are. I'm gonna have this one be a little. Yeah, she's gonna be a bit cool. She's gonna be a bit cool about this whole thing. She's not super phased by the bloody machete she has here. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna give her some cool eyebrows. That kind of starts in the middle, pretty low, and then comes out like this. She's not worried. She's just super cool about this whole thing. Something like that. All right, I'm gonna flip it. All right. Well, it's not a disaster. Kind of. Her mouth is doing some weird stuff here. Let me see if I can just quickly fix what I'm seeing with the warp tool. Maybe that was it. Yeah, there's definitely something funky going on over here. I think that's better. Give her a bit more of a chin. Maybe she needs some hair. She's been pretty bald this whole time. It's something cool like that. I don't know. She's super punk. So punk. I don't know, maybe she has like some crazy braid or something going on back there. Yeah, she's pretty scary. She does look like kind of like a DC character or something like that. Give her a shadow where this hairline is happening. Oh yeah, she still needs another eyebrow. That might help. All right, this is mostly readable, mostly human looking. There's a lot of tweaking that needs to happen here, but the eyelid is key in creating this expression. Messed up eye. I might be pretty burnt out on this right now, but I'll probably come back to this one. I might need to grab a reference, but maybe this can be your cyborg eye. Let's just give her a big old. There we go. Oh boy. It's a little better. Might be good enough for now. It's a little hard to tell if that brow is going to be in shadow or not. I guess at the very least it's going to have some reflected light here, so we won't worry about that too much. Same down here. There's going to be a bit of a transition, at least into partial shadow, I believe. But it's about lunchtime and I'm getting pretty hungry, so I'm gonna put this one on pause for a minute. Just gonna kind of move this around, see what happens. Yeah, if you're ever unsure about how a certain feature is supposed to look or anything like that, you can always just you can do that copy and paste thing that I do and keep bumping it around until until it looks okay, I guess. It's a strategy in lieu of not actually having too much anatomy experience. I'm always trying to get a leg up on my anatomy skills, but still have a long way to go. I don't know. That's probably as good as I'm going to get it for now. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me today. I'm going to wrap this up in a part 2 video. Perhaps next week. I actually have another video that I have to do part 2 for as well. Maybe I'll do 2 streams this week. I don't know. Let me know if you would like to see more of this kind of stuff, or if you have any questions or comments or suggestions about where you want this piece to go. Obviously, it still has a long way, but I think the fundamentals are there, and it's just going to take quite a bit of tweaking, which does take some time. So anyway, thank you for joining me once again, and I hope to catch you on the next one. If you haven't already, please go ahead and if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. I do come out with some short videos that I put together about once, sometimes twice a week. You can check out other things like my narrated walkthroughs of speed paintings or time-lapse videos that I'll throw on there every now and then. So go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. And until next time, hope you all take care. Bye.